You don't say no when you got people wanting you to speak. You know, it's an opportunity. So we're counting down now. You see that, right? You're on mute. I think no. Yeah, I got you in the green room. It's the countdown to the show. We're about to get started. Okay, I gotta wave at everybody. Make sure everybody's tuning in for this live domestic violence episode number 2. Episode number 2. It's Domestic Violence and Breast Cancer Month. So I want everybody to tune in and chime in, comment, whether you agree with something I said, whether you disagree with something I said. Let it be known. 5 minutes to showtime. 5 minutes to showtime. Special guest, and if you want to be a guest on the show, you let me know and we'll make it happen. Inbox me, email me, text me, whatever way of point of contact you got getting to me, make sure you utilize it. What's up, sweetheart? What's up, Miss Green? Tagging Miss Green on this one, okay. Less than 5 minutes to showtime, domestic violence. And like I said, once again, if you want to tune in, if you want to talk about your situation or you want to talk about a situation that you heard of, whether it be a friend, relative, cousin, inbox me. Let me know. Make a comment on a post and let me know. Share this post. I'm here to help others. I'm here to spread the information. I'm here to spread the word. Special guest Pam is on the show. And Pam has written a book, believe it or not. So we're going to bring up that book as well. We're going to discuss that book. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's going to continue to help me make more videos like this. I think I'm going to go past the month of March when it comes to breast cancer and domestic violence. Got a gentleman that I think I'm going to bring on as well that's been a victim of domestic violence. He's going to speak on it. Yes, indeed. I said that right. I got a man that I'm going to bring on that's been a victim of domestic violence. So it's not just the ladies, it's the men as well. My wife just texted me. I don't know what you said. Put it up on the screen, Miss Lady. 3 minutes and 5 seconds and counting. 3 minutes and 5 seconds and counting to showtime. That's right. Tune in so you can hear what I'm talking about. Tune in. This is important information. I got to wave to the people and get their attention that's on standby right now. Hello to all the 8 people that's tuned in so far. Say hello to Facebook and YouTube world, okay? They're going to read your comments. Bernice, what was that text you sent me, my wife? What was it? Two minutes and counting to showtime. That's right. I got a good show for you today. I'm always going to have a good show for you. Next week is going to be a good show as well. Breast cancer survivorship. That's right. Next week is going to be breast cancer survivorship. We're going to can't let the month go without talking about breast cancer. Not at all. I'm bringing it to you. 2 minutes and counting. Thank you for everybody that's tuned in so far, that's patiently waiting less than 2 minutes to showtime. If you want me to call you and you want to say something over the air, inbox me your phone number. Once again, if you want me to call you and you want to say something over the air, inbox me your phone number, okay? I'll make it happen. A minute and 30 seconds, that's right. It's showtime. I'm going to bring my background back too, okay? I got this plain wall right now, but I think next week I'm going to bring my background back. So you can see the little kitchen or living room set, office set. I'm going to figure out which one I'm going to use, I think, next week. 1 minute and 10 seconds to go to showtime. Share this video. Share this live stream. Please share this live stream. Subscribe and like the YouTube channel, please. Let me get this last sip of water before showtime starts. It's a wonderful Tuesday. It's the month of October, Breast Cancer and Domestic Violence Month. That's right, Breast Cancer and Domestic Violence Month. We're bringing an awareness to the forefront. I see you, Pam. You about ready, Pam? I see you. Oh, shucks. 15 seconds and counting. Here we go. The countdown is real. I'm going to let that beat kick in for 10 more seconds. Oh, less than 10 seconds. 7 seconds worth of beat. Then we're going to go ahead and get this show started, okay? Hey. Welcome back to the Mr. He Got Game and Friends podcast. Woo! I'm glad y'all tuned in today. This is Domestic Violence and Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So 2 episodes of domestic violence, and then the next one is going to be breast cancer awareness. Today we got a special guest, but before I bring her on, I want you to like and share this video so many people can see it, because it's going to help many people get the courage to come forward, talk about their situation, or either get help. But I'm bringing along Pam. Pam. How you doing, Pam?
I am blessed.
Tell the people hello, Pam.
Hey, peoples.
Okay, Pam. Pam, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for coming aboard, Pam, and talking about your story. And I see you got a poster in the background. The poster is of your book. We're going to bring up your book a little bit later. But
All right.
At what age did you become a victim of domestic violence? Let me ask you that.
Let's see. I was about 23, 24.
23, 24?
Actually, about 24, yeah.
Dating, or were you in a relationship or married? Which was it?
It was, ironically, I would say 24. It was the week after the I do's.
Oh, the week after I do. So you mean to tell me there was no signs prior to the marriage or prior to the engagement that he was possibly violent or anything to that nature?
There was signs of jealousy, but there wasn't signs of he would actually throw things. He never really hit me. He's a thrower. So he threw things at me, which still hurt. So.
Okay, now, hold on. So he never physically hit you with his hands, is what you're saying?
Right. I mean, I've been abused in every which way of the word, but physically, he's never really like slap, punch, stuff like that.
So, for instance, he didn't ever slap punch you, but what did he throw at you? What is the biggest thing? What is the biggest item he's ever thrown at you? Let me ask you that.
My child's car seat.
Child's car seat. And
Correct.
where did it hit you?
It's this little thing right here. It's hit me right there on my arm. I tell people I am the real life Wonder Woman. I've blocked everything he's ever thrown at me.
So let me ask you this. So after I do's and the violence started, was that a sign to say maybe I need to get out of this situation, or why did you stay in the situation? What, did you have any kids together, or what made you stay in the situation? Let me ask you that.
I actually was 5 months pregnant, and to me, I believed in the vows. So once I said the I do's, I'm looking like, okay, that for better, for worse, to death do us part thing.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, I didn't think that I would be going through domestic violence or whatever after that. The first thing he threw at me, of course, was a glass from our wedding gifts, because the
Okay.
wedding gifts were still in the room.
So
And
what
so
triggered? What triggered him to throw the wedding gifts? You know, and I'm not saying you triggered him, but you might have said something that might have teed him off. You know what I mean?
Well, he was a substance abuser. He was a 40-ounce drinker.
Okay.
so
Okay.
so that could have been all in his system. He was going through some health issues that we didn't really know what was going on with him at the time. And I'm not real sure what truly triggered him. But all I know is I was on the phone with his mother, and next thing you know, he heard something, probably didn't know the whole story of what we were talking about,
Okay.
and just went off from there.
Okay.
So all I know is all of a sudden wedding gifts are coming at me.
And what was your first thought? I have to ask you that question. What was your first thought?
To get out of the house. And because I had my older son who was 6 years old at that time. So I kind of got him to run out the house. And once the glass broke on my hand, I kind of grabbed my keys, grabbed
Okay.
my purse, because it was right there, and took off.
And
Now,
go ahead.
that's why I was like, I don't know what triggered in him, but all of a sudden this, hold on, because he literally brought me a towel, because he must have saw drippings of blood.
Okay.
Brought the towel to the car and handed me the towel, and of course I just took off.
So let me ask you this question: what made you go back after that incident happened? And he drew blood. He drew first blood like Rambo. What made you go back?
Because I actually did love him, and I figured, okay, I keep thinking maybe it's just the drugs. So I'm not, but you're never really sure. And then of course, once they all say, well, I'll never do it again, you want to believe that they'll never do it again. Or like a friend of mine say, you see good in people and you want to keep seeing that good.
I got you.
So
So the substance abuse, was it just 40 ounces or was it anything else? Like
it started out with just weed, which
Okay.
to me, weed mellowed him out. But around that time, he was doing primos, which is weed laced with crack.
wow. Okay.
Then from then,
Now,
he didn't
was
need
he
the
doing
weed
this
no
in the
more.
house? Was he doing the primos in the house? Okay. After the primos, go ahead. Because I didn't know what
Oh, yeah.
primos was. Laser crack.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Okay, keep going.
Weed laced with crack, and then next thing you know, he don't need the weed anymore. He just need the crack.
So was it the crack or was it
So
the cocaine?
I think it was just crack,
Okay, it was just
because
crack.
he would like chop it up. He would chop it up and stuff and smoke it that way.
And he did this.
Or
He
he'll,
did this inside the house as well.
oh yeah,
And
he did everything in the house.
at that particular point, it just didn't feel uncomfortable with you with these substances around the house, around your kids, or did you partake? Of course, I gotta ask you that. Did you partake in the weed? Did you partake in the 40 ounces? Did you partake in
I
any
ain't
of that?
partaking in any of that. Nah, I've been a person who I've seen what drugs, alcohol, stuff do to other people, and choose not to do that now. My drink of choice, H2O.
Okay,
Like,
H2O.
so, but yeah, I don't do any of that stuff.
Was that your
But
only? Was that your only relationship that you
that's abusive.
Yes.
Yes, because it actually taught me how to start asking questions with other people. But it took me 12 years from that relationship or that marriage to go into another relationship.
Now, how long were you two together?
We were together almost 8 years. We were married 3.5, but I still kept dealing with them and going back for another 2 years after that.
Now you said it
So
taught you to ask questions. Am I right? For the next person that
yes,
you chose to date, like what type of questions could you ask, or that somebody else could ask, to find out whether or not they're indicators that this person is a particular violent person?
I asked how do they handle their anger. Do you walk away? Do you hit? Do you argue? Um, just what triggers you to want to hit someone? And if it's more like, if I can see things now, I'll observe a lot more now. I mean, if I sense something's wrong, true enough, I ask first. But if that asking triggers an attitude, I can't go forward with that. I mean, it makes me really wonder, okay, from me asking a question, why you trigger an anger.
Okay, so you were together for a total of 8 years, 3 years marriage, and I guess 5 years separated is what you're saying?
Well, 2 years in front of that, and then
10
2
years
years,
ago.
mind you,
Okay.
would say after. So yeah.
So what motivates you to the point of writing this book right here? Smile through it all. What actually encouraged you to write that book right there? What's the motivation behind it?
Wanting others to survive like I have survived. And I've seen a lot of girls or even guys be abused. There in that family alone, there's been a lot of abuse. I've watched his parents, his siblings. I've just asked questions. What's going on with this cycle? And I wanted my kids to not be in that cycle. So that was one of my main reasons to get out, because I didn't want my boys to think that this is how you get and keep a woman. So I wrote it. It's actually a healing for me.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so I mean, it took me 2 times to write the book. So
Okay.
technically, it was supposed to be The Woman Behind the Smile, but that title was taken. So
And I have to give myself a little credit because I did connect you with the person that was able to put the book together for you. Am I correct?
yes, you did.
And
I
I'm glad you
appreciate
fully went
that.
through it because I didn't expect you to go through it. But, a lot of people want to do things, but a lot of people stop at the first step. And especially when it comes to talking about their personal situation, no one wants to completely put their business out there. So I want to thank you for having the courage to at least put a book together. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, what was the
It
last?
took me 4 years.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's
Right.
out there. Everybody need to cop a copy also. Let me put it back on the screen real quick. Make sure you get a copy of this book and read it. But let me ask you this question again. What was not again, but let me ask you this question. What was the last straw?
Uh-huh.
What was the final straw that made you say, hey, enough is enough?
The final straw was he came by my apartment. He was calling my house at 3:00 in the morning. I didn't answer. Then I got a knock on my door at 6 in the morning. And I'm like, who is this? But the thing is, my kids wasn't home. So that's when I was looking like, okay, this is the time for you to say whatever you got to say. Whatever happens, happens. You die. But your kids is not there to witness it this time.
So you actually got to the
So
point you didn't care that if he came in and he just took your life, you was willing to deal with it at that point, not really caring about the consequences or the emotional damage that it may cause the kids.
right.
Okay.
I mean, because after dealing with it that long, and by now I was like online dating, but not really dating. I was more like meeting people. And it's gotten, when he went to jail for 6 months, that helped me wean him out my system.
What did he go to jail
So
for?
now
Do you
I'm at
mind me
a
asking? I need to know. What did he go
for
to jail for?
for domestic violence.
Okay, so you
He
called the
was
cops on him.
supposed
What
to.
county was it?
Well, I've called the cops a lot of times.
Okay.
You said what county?
Correct.
Shawnee County in Topeka, Kansas.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so yeah, he was supposed to do, I think, a year, but they gave him 6 months. He was supposed to go through counseling that he didn't do, and he was supposed to go through substance abuse that he didn't do. But actually, he did that part after the jail part because
Okay.
they sent him from jail straight to the substance abuse place, where I got to see him actually clean and sober for 2 whole months.
And someone wants to know did you do any therapy, professional therapy? Did you talk to anybody, or did you do just self healing yourself?
Unfortunately, it's kind of like self-healed myself. Even though, like now, I keep thinking I still need to go through therapy. Even though writing the book was a lot of therapy, because like now, back then when I talk about all of this, I would be
Yes,
pulling out tissue. I mean, I couldn't stop crying. Now I can actually, once I saw that I can write the book and write my
yes,
thoughts down, and there's no more crying,
I got you.
then I felt that I'm more healed now
I
than
got you.
then.
I
But
got you.
I still think I need to go through actual therapy.
What happened in the incident that made you call the cops where he spent 6 months in jail?
That was the incident with the where that particular year his dad died and his sister was murdered within 2 months of each other. So, but I've always been his safe haven, I guess you can say.
Okay.
But after his sister was murdered, there was a lot of drugs and a lot of drinking. So he came by with not a real good conscience. Something happened that day, and my car had broke down, and he thought I did something on purpose. So I had a bad feeling, and so I sent the boys to their room, and I had to say I told him I was going to go do something with the boys. Unfortunately, I didn't take the phone with me. Of course, this is back in the days of I didn't have a cell phone. I had a
Okay.
regular house phone.
Okay.
So, but something said block the door. So I put their dresser and stuff in front of the door, put their bed in front of the door, and I was literally going to jump out of the 3-story window.
And he
Because
still
usually they're like,
got through the door. He still got through the door.
well, when your adrenaline kicks
I
in,
got you.
all that power kicked in. So what the thing was, usually there's a car below that window. The car wasn't there this time. So I'm looking like I'm gonna have to pay for someone's car, but unfortunately, the car wasn't there that time. So I kind of like took the screen off the window, and I was gonna try to tap my neighbor's window, and he must have heard that commotion of me taking the screen off. So that's when he came to the door,
Okay.
and he's pushed it open. Of course, then my boys is trying to push it like they got the strength to,
Hold it
to
back.
push it.
Correct. Correct.
Right.
Correct.
So
Correct.
we all technically trying to keep him out, but of course he forced himself in. Nicely, the boys ran out, so that way they're not in this line of whatever he's about to do.
And when he got through the
So
door, what transpired?
that's when he started arguing, fussing, cussing, and then of course he would throw things. And I've learned prayer works. This time I prayed out loud,
Okay.
and apparently someone heard me that prayer. Someone
Yes.
heard the commotion or something, and before you know it, there's a ding. My doorbell or whatever, or the buzzer from the apartment complex is ringing. Well, for
Okay.
some reason, it triggers in his head to go answer it because I stayed in the room praying out loud. And next thing you know, when I look up, there's a cop inside my apartment.
Okay. So you were
So, but
unconscious somehow, or you were praying. You were still praying, I guess, then, right?
I was still praying.
Okay. Okay.
So, but he's the one who let them in.
I
But
got you.
then, how some abusers do, they try to make it like, well, I don't know why she's in there harming herself.
I got you.
And so they can look at my facial expression and looking like, yeah, that don't sound right. But so he got arrested that night.
Okay.
So, and then I was subpoenaed to go to court that same night.
I got you. I
So
got you.
that's how he ended up going to court
All right. And I do have some.
and getting put them.
Okay, I do have someone I want to ask some questions from. So I'm gonna see.
Okay.
She's actually watching the show, and she better pick up that telephone too. Or I'll put her on blast.
Hello.
What's going on, Miss Sunny Nay?
Hey, how's it going?
How are you doing? You're live on the show. You know that, right?
Huh?
Everybody can hear you right now.
Oh,
Say hello to social media.
no, I'm watching it.
I know, but I gotta get you on because I gotta ask you some questions. You're the one that met
no,
with
I can't
Pam.
hear you.
Listen to me. Give me 2 minutes. This is the surprises that I do real quick. 2 minutes. 2 minutes, 2 questions, okay? 2 minutes, 2 questions.
I can't right now, Reggie. I can't.
Sunny
I'm not
Nay.
in a position with the camera.
Sunny Nay.
You're not on the camera. You got a pretty face
You're not
up
on the
there.
camera. You're not on the camera.
Huh?
It's
You're
just
not on
your
the camera.
voice.
Just your voice.
Okay. All right.
You ready?
Okay, hold on. I guess I am.
Okay, thank you.
Hold on.
I know. I'm sorry, I'm difficult at times, but thank you for getting together with Pam. I introduced you to, and you helped her.
Yeah, thank you for introducing us.
And you were able to get your book through. So get her book out rather. But how difficult was it writing a book with Pam? Let me ask you that question.
It wasn't difficult at all. I would say it wasn't difficult at all. Pam was on top of her game. She was ready to write her book.
She was?
She was ready to get her story out there.
Let me get Pam on this video right here. Go ahead. I'm making adjustments as we talk. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, Pam, it wasn't difficult at all to help Pam get her book going. She was ready to get going. You know, she had her manuscript ready. She had her story that she wanted to share with the world, and she was just ready for the journey. She was ready for the process. So it made it the process and the journey a lot easier, knowing that she wanted to do this. This was something that she really desired and was passionate about.
And Pam, do you agree? How difficult was it to talk to somebody a complete stranger about your story that you want her to put in writing?
Well, by the time I did it, she wasn't technically a complete stranger anymore because I attended her seminar the year before. But we became like sisters during this process. Any conversation we had was 2 hours plus.
Okay, now, Sunny Nay. Sunny Nay, I got this is your Facebook information that I put on here. So everybody, I got your Sunny Nay name on there. But if anybody wanted to get in contact with you in regards to writing a book about anything, it could be an autobiography or it could be, something that you're speaking of, like Pam herself, domestic violence or a children's story or whatever it may be, how can they get in contact with you?
The best way would be to email me at sunny'slightenterprises at gmail.com. Also, the Facebook page would be Sunny's Light, LLC. They can either send me an inbox, a message through that, or email.
And spell that out. And that's SUNNYDELIG. I'm going to let you spell it out. Go ahead.
Sure, it's okay. SUNNYSLIGHT Enterprises, so ENTERPRISES at gmail.com.
And I want to thank you for being this impromptu guest and coming on the phone and giving me a difficult time for the first minute and a half when I'm trying to get you to talk. And I guess you didn't realize that you were not on video. Instead, I just put up a photo. Were you able to see your photo?
No.
Okay.
I'm on the phone. I didn't even look. So, yeah, I'm not 100% ready, but it's okay.
All right. Thank you for answering the phone. All right. I'm going to hang up now. Thank you, Sunny. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Okay, Pam. Now we're going to talk about something else, okay?
Uh-huh.
After you finished your book, tell me what transpired after you finished your book. How did you get people out there to know about your story? Tell me, how did you promote it? Let me ask you that question.
Social media. Well, family, friends, because a lot of people, once I finished the manuscript, I kind of posted it in manuscript form. And
so in other words, you just gave the whole story out there without them buying the book, right? You're just giving free information, right?
No.
Go ahead.
No, I literally did this right here. I just said it's done.
Okay.
But it took me 4 years to get to this point. So everyone, of course, was waiting for the story. So, but I had to come up with the finances, of course, to get the story because I didn't know how much it really cost to try to get a book out there. You hear so many people like, oh, I just wrote a book and they think that was published. So I'm thinking, it can't cost that much. Yes, it can, depending on what you want to do with your book.
Okay. And everybody's curious, to be honest with you. So being that everybody's curious, could you give I'm not going to tell you to tell how much you paid for your book, but could you give a range a range. Don't give it exact amount because everybody's situation, everybody's book is going to be different. Depending upon the
Right,
pages, depending upon how they want to publish, depending upon
right.
marketing and
And
things of that
see,
nature. So, but just
well,
give a range, I
and
guess.
it comes to photo shoots and makeup, which I don't do. Um,
Okay. Okay.
so my range, and then of course I have a website, so that also ties into to how much I ended up paying.
Okay.
Um, which of course Sunny is reasonable. You pay half now, half later, so
Okay.
so that helps. So the range for mines was around 3 grand,
Okay. Around three
but that
grand.
was because of everything that I had. Because once she explained your website versus Amazon or Barnes and Nobles, Walmart, and all that, it makes sense to actually get a website.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I would prefer because that way you get more of your money.
I got you. I got you. Instead of the cut
So
and split that Barnes Nobles
right,
and
because if unless you
everybody else is
selling
going to charge.
thousands of books on Amazon,
Yes.
you just might as well just wrote a book to be writing a book.
Okay.
Now I don't mind people getting the book because I mean I have given away some free books or whatever, but
Yes. But I
that's
bought
because
one.
I
I
want the
bought
story
one.
out
I
there,
bought your
and
book
I
now.
appreciate you.
Yes. I was one of the first to buy it. I will say
So,
that. Now I
now I
got to
was
get.
shocked because I did 88. I did 88 pre-orders, and that was shocking to me.
Okay. Now let me ask you this. I got to get back to the questions about the
Hmm.
violence.
Okay.
Were your friends and family aware of the situation when it came to you being in a domestic violence case?
Um, Not really. A little bit, only because like after that first incident, I drove to my mom's house,
Okay.
and since the fact that my hand wouldn't stop bleeding, because I literally soaked up that towel that he gave me, it was completely red. So my mom watched my older son while my sister took me to the hospital. And since I was 5 months pregnant, of course, I had to have a stress test for that child while they were giving me 6 stitches in my hand. And of course, when you go to the hospital and they see that it's domestic violence or whatever, they ask the questions because here comes the nice little cop into the room
Yes.
and they need to go and investigate all that. But in my case, I know how my husband is or ex-husband. I knew that he was not going to be at that house. So, but
Okay.
I'm looking like, hey, I gave them the information that they asked for.
Now, your 6-year-old child at that time, and you're speaking of probably what took you 14 years, did you say, to write this book total? Or how old is your oldest son right now? Let me ask you that.
He's 32 right now.
He's 32.
Yeah.
How did he pick up any bad habits, unfortunately, from what he witnessed during that time that you are aware
No,
of?
no. Neither one of my sons. I mean, I can see that they have, I won't say violence tendencies. They have protection, is what I call it, tendencies. Because
Protection for who? The person they're dating, or protection for
protection
the mom?
for, they have a lot of protection for me,
Okay.
of course, because if they even hear a man raise his voice to me, they don't even knock on my door at that point. They just walk on in.
Okay.
So, but they have protection for the women they're with. They have protection for practically women, period. Because my youngest son does that. If he see his friends, his female friends in trouble,
Mm-hmm.
he'll go protect them, regardless of what might happen to him.
Okay.
That scares me sometimes. I
Yes.
like that he's protecting, but it scares me at the same rate. So, but no, they don't have violence towards females at all.
Okay.
I've taught them not to.
Is your ex-husband, is he still in Kansas or is he in Georgia? Or do you know where he's located at
Yeah,
right now? Just out of
he's still
curiosity.
in Kansas. He's still in Kansas, and he's remarried. And from what I hear, he's actually stroke car,
Okay.
and they're still together.
Is he aware that you wrote this book?
That I don't know because I
What?
have not physically talked to him in the last. I haven't talked to him since 2012.
I got you. I was just curious whether or not he knew about whether or not you wrote the book.
I mean, his mom has a copy of the book, so he might know. I'm
And I
sure.
would love for him to look up Mr. He Got Game and put. so I can get his side of the story, okay?
I mean, because I'm
There's
still
always
really
two
in close
sides to the
knit.
story, so I would love to get his side of the story. Now he has
I'm
an
still
opportunity.
in.
You're still
I'm
what?
still in close knit with that side of the family.
Yeah, now he has
I
an
mean,
opportunity to tell his side of the story, just in case everything you're saying is not copacetic, okay?
hey, I wish I was able to bring up to make these stories up, but nah.
Okay,
So, but
so,
yeah, he's very willing to tell his side of the story.
and I'm not going to ask no names except the first name. I want to know the first name. You have his first name. Kansas can't be too big. What's his first name? I'm just curious.
His name's Mark.
Mark? Okay. Mark. What city in Kansas?
Topeka.
Topeka. Anybody know Mark in Topeka? Tell him to look up Mr. He Got Games so he can hear his side. Well, I want to hear his side of the story, rather. Okay?
I'm gonna say, well, he doesn't have social media, but his wife does.
Somebody does. Somebody's going to get it to him in Topeka. A population of about what? 25? I'm just joking. 25 African Americans. But, so your process completely changed when it comes to dating. Am I correct? Are you currently in a relationship? Got folks out there that
No,
might want to
I'm
look you up
not.
and might want to date you, okay?
I'm
You're
not currently in a relationship.
you're not currently in a relationship. So has your situation or approach changed when it comes to being in a relationship?
At one point, I was doing the online dating thing. And right now, that kind of scares me. So yeah, my approach now is, I guess, my mom taught me a long time ago, don't chase. so I'm trying not to chase.
I
But
got
I
you.
mean, but with me being shy, it's hard for me to approach.
So
So
what
I
baggage?
guess
What baggage did you carry over? Emotional baggage, or did you carry over any physical baggage? Are you violent in relationships, or when you tend to get in an argument with somebody, do you throw things?
nah, I'm a big old sweet, lovable heart. I think I have too much love to give, and some people can't handle that love. But no, I'm an observer of how men are when we talk, and if I give my heart to you, and then you do something with that, because my last two relationships were long distance relationships.
Okay, and that was
So
over
and
social media. I take it, right?
correct.
Okay.
So,
Did
but
you
you
two
have to
see each
develop a lot of
other?
trust that way.
Did you two see each other? Did you get to meet either one of them?
Oh yeah, I
Okay.
flew back and forth to California. I've rode back and forth to Chicago.
Okay.
So yeah.
So you drove up to Chicago and you paid to go to California?
No, I mega bus up to Chicago.
Okay. Okay. No, no, no. Go ahead.
So,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
because I mean, it's like
So,
every other
so
month I would go there, he would come here. So
Okay,
that's
so I
how
got you. I
that
got you.
part
So you
went.
paid for a ticket on a megabus to go to Chicago, and you paid for a plane ticket to go to California, right?
Sometimes he would pay for them, or I would pay for
You
them.
know that's where I was getting to, right? I was digging that hole for you. If a man wants to see you, you do not pay to go see a man. I'm gonna tell any
Yeah,
lady that do
he
not.
would.
Not the first trip. Now, if the man's financially strapped, I'm not going to say pay for the second trip either, because if he's financially strapped, maybe he shouldn't be dating at all. So, but
Right, right.
you took a loan, yeah. That was so. Why did those two
Well,
relationships?
we were eight. We were me and the one in California. We were friends for 8 years before we
Okay,
decided to look on the, hey, we got some things in common. Let's look at another level
I got
of
you. I
this
got you. I
friendship.
got you.
So yeah.
And so you pursued it, and I guess it didn't work. That's a long megabus trip to Chicago. I can't imagine how many stops that was. Goodness
Well,
gracious.
that one we had 8 months of getting to know each other, and then all of a sudden, I'm feeling like, okay, does he have a girlfriend in Chicago and a girlfriend in Atlanta? It
Okay,
turned out that was the case.
I
so,
got you. I got you. I
so
got you. As
yeah.
long as you weren't sending no money for electricity or utilities, and you weren't sending them no money back home, was you?
No, no, no,
Please tell
no,
me
no.
one. Okay, you probably wouldn't admit to it anyway, but it's all good.
Oh
But
no, I'm an open book, literally.
I got you. I got you. Got you. But what advice would you give a man or woman if they were in a situation that's dealing with domestic violence to get out of it?
My advice is you
How can they
have
get
to
out of it? Go
be.
ahead.
I'm a believer of you're a victim until you are completely ready to become a survivor. If you're going to keep going back, keep going back, keep going back, you're not ready to survive. You have to be ready to say, enough is enough. And kind of like I did, once I said enough is enough, I was not going backwards. One, because I'm raising boys and I didn't want them to believe this is how you treat your woman. But once you make a plan, you got to work that plan. And it's going to be hard, of course, because this is what you're used to, especially if you've been in that relationship or situationship for a very long time. It's going to be hard to cut ties. But again, you got to say enough is enough and
I wouldn't
go
say
forward.
it's hard to cut ties, but sometimes, especially when kids are involved and when your life and
Right.
your safety is involved, sometimes you just got to jump over that line because whatever line you're doing to cut ties, possibly more than likely it's not going to be worse than what you're dealing with already.
Exactly. Because
Yeah,
I mean, if hopefully you're not really used to thinking love is abusive, because love is not abusive. Love shouldn't hurt. So yeah, it's you have to be ready to do that. I wish I thought about the shelters and all that stuff. I probably
yes.
wouldn't have went back so much, but I've never been in
And
a
it's
shelter
and it's hard
before
going to
because
a
that's
shelter for
scary as
anybody that
well,
doesn't. No, yeah, that's understandable. That's understandable as well.
especially if you have children.
But I'm gonna
So
recap on this. What are the ways? Like I said again, what are the ways that you can recognize for the people that tuned in late? What are the red flags that you can recognize that a person is violent?
um, if they argue a lot for some odd reason, because to me, I never really, in my mind, triggered anything. But again, if they're a substance abuser or if they're alcoholic abuser, uh, most likely they're not level-headed to a point to where they're going to think not to abuse you. But if you see signs of they question you like you're the victim and they're the popo. I mean, you're a criminal and you're the popo. There's something going on there. You got to ask questions. But then again, if you ask questions and they get upset, something's going on.
We're gonna count them
Or
down. We're gonna count them down. The top three signs. Top three signs that you would say. We're gonna count them down.
top 3 signs. Well,
You
they like to
mentioned
hit.
alcohol and substance abuse, correct?
Right.
Okay.
I won't say know their past, but to me now that's a trigger because once I got out of it, I started noticing he has an abusive past because he's
Now, how did you
abused
find
every
that out?
woman.
How did you find that out?
He's
Google
dated a couple
nowadays. I
people.
guess Google nowadays. I guess you basically can Google everybody and see what type of record they may have. Am I correct?
You probably could, but I don't know. I've never Googled my ex-husband, so I don't know.
How'd you
Maybe,
find out?
maybe I
How
should
did
start
you
Googling.
find out about his past?
I've known some of the females he's messed with or he's dated. They've told me, which of course I wish they would have told me beforehand.
Okay.
And then of course talking to some of his family members, they've said that he's abused this person or he's abused this person or he might have broke this one's jaw.
And you met
So
the
it's like,
family
oh
members
wow.
before you got married, right?
No, fortunately or unfortunately, I knew some of his family before I even knew him because some of us went to church together. Then I went to college with one of his sisters, but I didn't know that was his sister.
Okay.
I didn't know all this until I met him, and then I started meeting the family. Like, oh, well, crap. Okay. Didn't know him. I knew of him in high school, but I didn't know his past with violence and stuff in high school.
Okay, so what? I'm gonna say this one more time because I want people to hear it, and I do want people to hear it. You were abused. I guess the first sign of abuse was the day after you said "I do." Correct?
Right. Well, the week after.
The week after you said "I do."
Yeah.
So at that particular point, I guess you would recommend for a person to either seek counseling or start to make an evacuation plan. Let me ask you this. If you had to turn back the time, and that day, 10 days, a week after, whatever it may be, he threw those glasses at you, those waiting glasses. Is there something you could have did at that particular point, like marriage counseling or or just counseling yourself, or should you had got out of the situation? If you had an option now to go back and do it over.
I would have probably not went back, but again, I think if I wasn't married, I think I would have got out sooner. But because I believed in the vows at that time, I stuck around because I'm looking like, okay, I can't jump ship 1 week out. So, but again, like I said, because of the fact that I believed in the vows, we actually ironically did go to counseling and we argued in front of the preacher. So, and the preacher was even looking like asking him, how could you lay next to someone you just abused?
Okay.
And so,
And what was his
and
response?
of course, I don't think he really had one. Eventually, he walked out because he felt like he was forced to go to counseling. But because my cousin married us, he's looking like you worked your way into the marriage, you have to work your way out the marriage, and counseling was part of that. So, but once I saw that I'm the only one willing to go to counseling, that also worked towards me getting out the marriage.
And I'm gonna ask you again. If you had to go back, the day that he threw those glasses, would you have stayed in there? What would you have done differently? This is Pam. I got an opportunity to go back in time, reverse everything. Here it is. The wedding glasses are going past me. At that particular point, if it was anybody else besides you, if I'm gonna take you out the equation, if there's anybody besides you, what would you tell them to do?
Unfortunately, you really have to know who you with.
Okay.
And because, of course, even though some domestic violence situations sound alike, you have to know that person. And I keep saying I keep thinking that the abuse was from drugs and alcohol triggering whatever's going on in him.
Okay.
But I won't really know because I'm not him. But me,
what would you do? If you
think,
can go back, I'm going to say this again. Forget him. Pull him out the equation. If you can go back to that date, what would you do? Would you do anything differently? It sounds like no. Right?
I'm going to say probably not. Okay. I don't think I would have waited 3.5 years though to get out. I think I would have, after the second time, I would have believed, okay, forget that was not going to happen again part. Mm-hmm. Once it happened again, that's when I should have got out. Okay, so cause that first part, I'm believing, okay, it's not going to happen. But once it happened again, that's when I should have went ahead and got out.
And everybody, basically what you're saying is put the vows to the side. Of course, there's situations where you're going to say the vows, I believe in the vows, but there's certain situations that you cannot allow those vows to keep you in an environment that's not healthy for you or healthy for your kids.
Exactly. Because, I mean, that's why I said that marriage taught me a lot. And people keep asking, would I ever get married again? Sure. But it's got to be a healthy relationship, not a toxic relationship.
And are you open to counseling right now? Because where are you at in your stage of mental health? Let me ask you that. Do you believe you're fine? You believe you're fully recovered? Or do you think you may need counseling?
Well, I know I need counseling, but not just from domestic violence.
Okay.
I need counseling from all around because I go through depression and stuff. I hate being single, technically, but I deal with it. So I don't, there's other reasons why I also think I need counseling because I go in and out of depression on other levels. So yeah.
Okay. And any words of advice before we get off this show that you want to tell everybody? Because I want to tell them to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel so that I can keep these shows coming forth. I think I'm going to do a whole series on domestic violence. I'm going to keep them rolling. But is there anything else you want to tell people?
Love yourself more than you want others to love you. That's something I'm still learning.
And you're still dealing with this how much longer? How many years later are you still dealing with this?
I'm not dealing with the domestic violence part, but but I just need to learn to love me. That it's okay to be by myself. So that's my bad part is I don't like being alone so much. And of course, during the pandemic, that was a real struggle. But the pandemic also produced this book. So, but yeah, that's the main thing is you gotta love yourself because I was very insecure, and I think that played a part in me sticking around because I didn't want to be alone. I didn't want my kids to keep being fatherless or whatever.
And
But
that's not
yeah,
and that's not always a journey. I'm gonna be honest with you. My mom was never married. I grew up, without a father, an absentee father. So, as a parent, as much as we would want to be with the person that we may, that she bear or bore a child with, if it's
hmm
not healthy, just don't do it and just don't pursue it. Because,
right,
single parents do produce great adults. I will say that.
true,
And often I had wondered whether or not my father in my life would have made a difference. And to be honest with you, I can't say it would. I can't say it wouldn't. I had great uncles. I had great cousins. I had people in my family that was around me to help me out. But a man in your child's life is not always going to make the situation better, and it's not going to make the situation right, especially when
right.
you're dealing with physical and emotional violence. So do not do it. This is Breast Cancer Month. Next week, I'm having Belinda come online and talk about breast cancer survivorship because that's an issue of when you first recognize or when you're first informed that you have breast cancer, how do you deal with it emotionally? How does it affect your family? How does it affect your friends? How does it affect you going forward? But Pam, I want to thank you for coming on, telling your story. You
Thanks for
took
having
courage.
me.
You took courage to do it, and I applaud you for that. In the meantime, in between time, everybody else, see you later. And I got some Pam. Thank you again for coming on. Okay, thank
Ah,
you.
that's thank
See y'all
you.
later. All right. Have a good day.
Have a good night.
Good night. As soon as I can find my end button, this is crazy, ain't it?